Now, the government recently announced the formation of a separate Union Ministry of Cooperation, a subject that till date was looked after by the Ministry of Agriculture. In the cabinet reshuffle of July 7th, Home Minister Amit Shah was given charge of the new ministry. A media release from the Press Information Bureau said that the Ministry of Cooperation will provide a separate administrative, legal, and policy framework for strengthening the cooperative movement in the country. In her budget speech, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman too had mentioned the need to strengthen cooperatives. In this edition of Big Picture, we will analyze the newly formed Ministry of Cooperation. Joining me on the program today are Vinita Hariharan, public policy expert who is leading Government of India missions, Dr. Ajay Dua, former Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, and A.K. Bhattacharya, Editorial Director of the Business Standard. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of Big Picture. Let's talk about the shape that this ministry is likely to take. Also, like has already been pointed out by one of the panelists, the fact that one of the most powerful ministers in the cabinet has been given additional charge of the Ministry of Cooperation says a lot about how much weight that the government is throwing behind this ministry.
Absolutely. I mean, my earlier panelists have already, explained the structure of the cooperatives in the country. But I would just like to substantiate that with a few numbers, just to give a sense of the scale of the cooperative movement that is there in India. So it's one of the largest in the world, so to speak. I mean, it was inception in 1904 with a Cooperative Societies Act, and with the Amul brand coming in after that, with the Gujarat Milk Marketing Federation, etc. And today it's grown to we have cooperative movements in the rural as well as in the urban areas. And as my earlier panelists have said, it spreads across agriculture, dairy, sugar, marketing, and credit. So just to give a few, just to give some numbers to the whole scale, at the primary level, the primary agriculture credit societies, the PACs, are about 95,000 in number. And they report on to the DCCPs, which are about 363, and you have 33 state cooperatives, and the huge paid-up capital, and giving away loans to almost 3 lakh crore in 1920, as per the NABARD's report. So therefore, it's a strong movement, and it's contributing to a large percentage of the share in rural networks and agriculture credit. Almost more than 47% of agriculture credit is contributed by the cooperatives. But at the moment, it's spread across, and it's a state-driven initiative right now. And it's at the national level, it's embedded within the, Ashok Bhattacharya just said, that it's embedded within the Agriculture Cooperation and Farmers Welfare Ministry. Therefore, it doesn't get that kind of trust and attention that it needs to get. And it's very, it's more than it's high time that we really give a trust to this sector, which is actually quite robust from the national to the state level. And but most of the state governments have a Department of Cooperation, which is carved out separately from the from the Departments of Agriculture. For example, the robust states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, even states like Madhya Pradesh, etc., have a separate Department of Cooperation. So therefore, there's a need to streamline all these bodies at the grassroots level, at the rural and in the urban, from the agriculture credit societies at the primary level to the district, to the state, and at the national level, there are several apex bodies also like NAFED and NCUI, etc. So there's a need to streamline all of them together, and which would be one of the roles that the National Ministry of Cooperation would do, to streamline all of them. And also, like my earlier panelist said, to spread it across the country, because as of now, with just 4 or 5 states in the picture, it's contributing to an employment of almost 1 million. So if we spread it across the country, there's a huge employment generation potential also. And it's also important to understand that these cooperative societies actually function in a very innovative manner in terms of giving away credit, and in terms of actually identifying the demand, which is actually very locally driven, which the banks don't have that kind of wherewithal to actually penetrate into the grassroots and understand what a particular block or a particular village needs. So that is the USP of a cooperative body. So if there's a Ministry of Cooperation, there would be if the ministry plays a role of like a facilitator rather than doer, which is what the role of the government is, to be a facilitator. So therefore, as a regulatory body, if the ministry plays a role of also giving an impetus and thrust to the cooperatives across the country, I think that would be the major role that the ministry would have to do. and to begin setting up these movements in states where it does not have any presence at the moment. Like, for example, northeastern states and various other states, there is a need to actually build this cooperative movement, learning from states which have gone ahead quite a bit. Like the earlier panelists have missed the state of Kerala, which is it's a robust cooperative movement there. So there's a lot of sharing, knowledge sharing also that can happen from the robust states to the weaker states. So the first job would be to first of all set up these cooperatives where it's not there in other states, and then look at how we could coordinate all these disparate kind of agencies that are spread across the country in the, under the umbrella of the cooperative movement, and give it a kind of a shape and a flow, and also for getting a separate budget allocation. I think that's very important. So with becoming a ministry, you get a separate budget allocation, and therefore the much needed funds to revive the cooperative movement and to give it further thrust. I think that's another important aspect that would come into the picture once it becomes a ministry in itself. And of course, also, the recent announcements of the Atmanirbhar package, where we saw a lot of guarantees being given to loans for MSMEs through banks. Now, the hitch over there is banks have their very strong KYC norms and governed by the RBI. So it's very difficult to really reach out to the last mile, so to speak, if you route it through the banks. So whereas if you route it through cooperatives, there'll be much more freedom and there'll be much more outreach to the last mile beneficiaries. So therefore, it's all the more important that the government gets a hold on this. And as Mr. Ashok Bhattacharya just mentioned, it's in the concurrent list. Therefore, the owners. It comes in the aegis of the central government also to actually govern this whole
So,
movement.
as far as a roadmap is concerned, where do you see us heading? Do you believe that we can truly achieve our potential as far as cooperatives are concerned? And what should our next focus area be? We've spoken about dairy, we've spoken about sugar, we've spoken about housing, banking. What else should our focus be on?
Absolutely. So there has been a recent move by NABARD also to make cooperatives multi-sectoral, going beyond these four, five robust sectors that you've spoken about. So beyond this, I think we could also look at federating the MSMEs. MSMEs are they already have associations and federations, but they're not really running in the cooperative mode. So I think if the MSMEs are also aggregated in a cooperative structure, I think that will do a lot good to give an impetus and thrust to the MSMEs. That's one. And also look at perhaps looking at retail cooperatives, because in Kerala we have a very successful model of retail stores being run by the margin-free markets. The stores which are run by cooperatives. So that again gives a huge employment generation, has a huge employment generation potential. So retail is another area. Insurance is another area which we could look at spreading our wings spreading the wings of the cooperative sector, so to speak. So that's one area. And as far as the roadmap is concerned, as we've already spoken in the past, one is to look at the greenfield states and look at how we could actually build a base of cooperatives there. So a starting point could be the self-help group movement, which has picked up huge momentum in the country with over 6 lakh self-help groups coming under NABARD's umbrella. We could look at expanding that beyond the states which are strong in self-help group movement and looking at expanding it in other states. That's one, starting with self-help groups, then looking at the farmer-producer organizations and looking at their spreads, taking the help of the national apex bodies like NAFED and NCUI and aggregating them and coordinating with them. I think that's a huge job that the ministry will have to do immediately. And then look at how we could actually start these movements in these greenfield states and pick it up as much as the leading states like Maharashtra and Gujarat. So that would be one of the triggering points or the starting points for the roadmap ahead for the Ministry of Cooperation. Then, of course, looking at the budget, and we can see how much we could earmark. All the finance ministers announced, but in terms of numbers, we need to look at what is the actual quantum of funding that's required to scale up this sector across the country. So I think that's the next step. So we look at 3 years of funding, 3 FYs remaining till 2024. So how much of it is actually needed and how much of it would be spent at strengthening the cooperatives in the various states?
Close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Absolutely. So I think it's a very welcome move, the Ministry of Cooperation. As we've seen, just in 5 or 6 focus states, the impact on the economy has been significant in the 5 or 6 sectors that we mentioned: agriculture, dairy, sugar, and credit. So therefore, it is really important that we have a separate ministry, a focus ministry that streamlines this movement and spreads it from the focus states to the other states in the country. And it's also closely intrinsically linked to the farmers' movement and to the development of the farmers, and to link the farmers with the new age digital platforms like eNAM, which is coming in through the farm laws. So it's important that the cooperative sector would actually play an important role in actually disseminating all of this to the grassroots. And so I think, and in terms of budgets, it will have a separate budget when it's a Ministry of Cooperation. So it will give the much needed thrust to the cooperative sector, which is much in need of funding. So I think it's a very welcome move. And as far as it is not everything that the government does would be politically motivated. So politics and administration and governance are all intrinsically linked. So there's nothing as such which is politically motivated or not motivated. Everything has an impact on political movements in the country. And cooperative movement specifically, especially, is a very robust. It's the fourth tier of governance, so to speak. After the Grama Panchayats, the third tier. The fourth tier we could say it's the cooperative bodies. So, and the Gram Panchayats, rural and urban local bodies have benefited significantly with ministries giving in huge devolution of funds to 15th Finance Commission. So, similar devolution of funds to the cooperative sector would do a lot good to the whole movement to spread across the country.
All right. We'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us.